YouTube, welcome to the channel. I want to invite everyone to subscribe. If you didn't do that already, turn notifications on. I try every week to put up a new video. I'll get business out of the way first. If you're looking for some one-on-one Skype sessions, I do have a few slots available still. You could reach out to an email that you'll find in the description of every video that I put up. All right, today is a follow-up to my Bluegrass in all keys video, which really talks about using a shape or pattern that most of us are familiar with to be able to enable you to play basic melodies in different keys. Use some note identification to be able to do that, and to get to the point that if you're in a jam session situation, different chords that somebody might want to sing a tune in won't be such a challenge for you. It'll be something that you're prepared for. Well, we certainly want to be prepared to play rhythm in all those chords as well. And with two simple patterns that we can learn on the fretboard, we can get started. We're just going to look at this with a 1-4-5 mentality, because there are literally thousands of songs that with 1, 4, and 5 chords we're able to play. A great place to start with that would be G, C, and D. If we look at those chords using Bill Monroe's chop shape, I'm going to spell this out to begin with. We have a root note here on the 3rd fret of the E string. Then I'm playing the 3rd scale degree, 1, 2, 3. That note is under my index finger on the 2nd fret of the A string. Then I have a root note here, 5th fret of the D string, and then the 5 of the chord is actually the lowest note that we're playing on the G string at the 7th fret. And that could feel like a real stretch. I'm going to do a video that talks about some options if you're not able to reach these chords, but I think if you work on it, eventually you can get stretched out to that place. So this being our root chord, here's the pattern that I'm talking about. Right above that, you would find the 4 chord. Now this is going to be easier. We don't have a pinky note whatsoever. We're just playing the root. Again, I'm going to spell these out, but they really should be muscle memory, that once your ring finger is on the root note, that your hand would just automatically fall into this shape. But to help you get started, for the C chord, we would have the 3rd fret on the A string, 2nd fret on the D string, that's our 3rd, and then another root note here. So we're not really playing a full chord. We would really need a G chord, a G note, to finish the chord, because that would be the 5th of the chord. But for the purpose of chopping, we're going to sacrifice having that note, because we want to be able to vamp and to stop that chop with your left hand. I have a video up that talks about that very topic as well. So now this position, 2 frets forward, would be a D chord. One more time, I'm going to break this down. You would have the 5th fret of the A string, and then the 4th fret of the D string. That's our major 3rd, playing a D scale, 1, 2, 3, that F sharp note, then another root note here on the 7th fret. So the first chord involved the pinky with this same shape, and a pinky note here, G, C, D. Okay, but today's video is not about execution of that or all the techniques and coordination that it takes to make that happen. Today is just about that pattern, this one and one more, that can get you to playing bluegrass rhythm in every key signature. So from this G, C, and D, we want to begin to look at that entire thing as one pattern and not really think of it as 3 different chords, even though it is. It's the 1, the 4, and the 5. With that mentality, if you think about a guitar player playing G, C, and D, if they move the capo up to the 2nd fret and play those same positions, that becomes an A, D, and an E chord. So you actually would be playing in the key of A at that point. That shouldn't feel very confusing to you with the mentality that I'm trying to get everyone to embrace with this. If you just moved your hand up 2 frets and played the same pattern or shape, it's okay to not really be processing that as an A, D, and an E chord. If you're not able to, I want you to be able to, so that we can use those shapes as arpeggios and use it as a foundation for playing melodies and for improvising and all that. But for right now, just to get going in the right direction, that's what's happening. The 1, 4, and 5 chord. Let's call it that instead of saying the names of the chord. So here's a 1, 4, and 5. All right? Okay, this next half step, there's a lot of bluegrass standards that are played in B flat. That exact same pattern now has just been moved up a half step. I'm playing right between A and B. And look what's going to happen. The same shapes. 1, 4, 5. That would be a B flat, an E flat, and an F chord. But let's just call it the 1, 4, 5. Okay, another half step gets us to B. Another really common chord for bluegrass to be played out of. Same shapes. 1, 4, 5. That's a B, an E, and an F sharp. So this can feed right into your note identification. If you were thinking about the ring finger covering those root notes, there's B, E, F sharp. It could certainly play out of those same positions. Okay, I'm going to move up one more half step to get to C. There we have the 1, 4, and the 5, all the way up to the 12th fret. I never really use a chop position really past the 12th fret, because we're going to talk about the option or the other pattern to get us away from, we can't really continue up the fretboard with this pattern beyond a high C. We would have the C, F, and the G chords. Same pattern that we started with. G, C, and D. Transposed all the way up to the 12th fret on your pinky where we're playing that G note. Okay, from this place, this is where the other pattern, if we wanted to think of it that way, is going to become useful. I'm not going to start here on D and play a 1, 4, 5. It would work the same way. This is just repeating up the neck. This is going to be a healthy way to think of playing in D. We already know where that chord is from using it when we play in the key of G, so let's start here. Watch the pattern change. D, G, A. So there's the difference. Now our root chord, or the chord that we're playing out of, is found on the top 3 pairs of strings. If we're looking at the shape of that arpeggio or of this chop chord, you'll see a lot of people play with a pinky note here and then adding another, that would be the 3rd scale degree of a D scale, another F sharp note there. It's common to see that, but you certainly don't have to do it. You can just get by with this closed position that we used before on the top 3 pairs of strings and play D, G, and A, the 1, 4, and 5 chords. So, okay, again, I'm going to move a whole step up to E. Look, if I had E on the top 3 pairs of strings, then I'm going to find A, or the 4 chord, in this same position, and then B, right under the root chord, is my 5 chord of B. So there it is, 1, 4, 5. Now moving that pattern with the root chord on the top. That's a great way to look at it. It simplifies this so much. We're not thinking about the whole chord scale, which I want you to do that with every one of these key signatures, but for now, just the 1, 4, 5. So now we need, again, a half step to go to F. No half step between E and F. So we're moving here, and then here, same pattern. There's our 4 chord. It's a B flat, then up to a C. We did notice that before. All of these sounds that we visited, now they're just part of this pattern moving with the top 3 pairs of strings representing the root. So there's an F, B flat, and a C. Okay, look what's going to happen. A whole step from there, and we're back to G where we started. So I'm not going to play rhythm from here, thinking of G, C, and D. Look, once again, we're past that 12th fret. That note can get a little weird. Think about chopping all the way up there. So we would just start the whole thing over in G. Okay, if any half step, the only one I'm making a big deal out of is B flat, because under the bluegrass umbrella, we don't do a lot of songs that are in A flat or C sharp or E flat. Those are to some extent avoided. B flat you definitely won't because of all the standards that we have in that key signature. But any other chord that you might need to play out of, you could certainly just go to that half step. I'll demonstrate with the one between G and A. We would have that A flat chord. Then the 4 is right above it, and then the 5 moving that pattern. So that's A flat, C sharp, and E flat. Same pattern moving on the fretboard. So this may feel overwhelming to look at all of this. Just take it one key signature at a time. Find a chord chart of something that one of your buddies sings in a different key, maybe one that you've never played rhythm in before. Find that section of the video and use it as a tool to help yourself get started playing bluegrass chop rhythm in every key.